I rounded the corner of the building, passing under the windows of the dining room. As I did, a faint light caught my eye. I positioned myself to the right of the frame and peered inside. The light was coming from the kitchen area at the rear of the dining room. I was certain that Baker, the only person I would usually find close to the stoves after hours, was in bed. I'd seen her pass me, trademark grouchy expression on her face, several hours ago, and it would be very unlike her to leave a light on. I wondered if someone else had been in there after her. The glass was dirty, which made it difficult to see inside, but the glow of a light was definitely there. I thought back to my earlier patrols. Had I missed it? Had the light been on all along, simply forgotten by some careless citizen who'd gone back to retrieve something once their shift was over? The explanation was reasonable, but I still couldn't shake my earlier doubts. Concerned, I hurried back to the courtyard. In my haste, I slammed into a body coming in the opposite direction. Startled, I backed away, my hand going instinctively to the knife at my belt. "Whoa!" The voice was definitely familiar. "You okay, Quin?" Hearing my friend's familiar voice, I relinquished my hold on the weapon. "Sorry, don't know what's wrong with me tonight. I'm so jumpy." Her face clouded with concern. "Still worried about—" "I'm fine." I brushed her concern aside and moved past her. "Taking over?" "Yes." She followed me back into the courtyard. "Get yourself off to bed, won't you? You look like you could use the rest." "In a minute." I knew I couldn't leave without investigating. "There's a light on inside. Need to check it out." "Someone probably just left it on." She frowned. "I hope no one sneaked in after hours. They'll be in for it if Baker catches them." "I'm not so sure." I frowned. "I want to check it out." She looked surprised, but then moved closer. "Okay then, let's take a look together, if it'll make you feel better." I walked to the door of the main building again. There was still no light showing from this direction, and I eased it open slowly, wincing at the creak that it made. Flicking my flashlight on again, I made my way towards the door of the dining room, Harper on my heels. Uncharacteristically, it was open. Peering inside, I could see nothing. Nodding to Harper to check the other rooms leading off the hallway, I slid through the door and into the space beyond. The tables were standing where they always did, empty for now of plates and cups. The benches on either side were all neatly stowed beneath them, ready for use the next morning. The light in the kitchen at the other end of the room was still blazing. Working my way towards it, I could hear nothing. Deciding that someone had simply forgotten to switch it off, I abandoned my caution and strode through the room, intending to turn it off and return to Harper. At the door, though, the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. One of the cupboards at the far end of the room was open, its contents having been emptied into a box which stood on the floor beside it. A light left on by someone's carelessness was one thing, but a box filled with provisions left in the center of the room in the middle of the night was no accident. Something was wrong. I raced back to the door of the dining room, stopping to check the hallway before I stepped into it. It appeared to be empty, for now. I'd given Harper what I assumed was the easy job. With the light being on in the kitchen, I decided to check that area myself. But now I had no idea where my friend was and who else might be in the building. There was really only one suspect, and I knew before I set off down the hallway who it was. Thomas. The week since our trip to the Beck had been one of great difficulty. Although we were concerned about our friends back in the Beck, we also had problems here at the Crags which couldn't be ignored. Many of our citizens, myself included, had survived the sickness, but it had taken us some time to recover our strength. We had to hold a funeral and were still grieving. But worst of all, 3 of our small group had committed the ultimate betrayal by abandoning the rest of us at the worst possible moment. Thomas, who had long made his disapproval of our community's leadership and their decisions abundantly clear to anyone who would listen, had literally run away from the area where we had been sheltering those who were sick, taking Alan and Johnson.